Let's talk about the power of what we're going to call micro wins, how small actions and steps can lead to big success.
Let's talk about that today on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson. Well, welcome everyone to the WBNL Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where together we align, connect, and prosper. This is episode 328, and you can find all those show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. I'm looking forward to this little conversation today, Jan O'Brien. I think we all need it. We all need to focus on the things that are going to make us feel better and ready to take on.
Yeah, and I want to start out with, I do feel there's a feeling of overwhelm. I've been feeling it. A lot of people in my life are feeling overwhelmed, and it's easy to kind of get into the overwhelm. So we've got a couple things to cover about that today. And I really like this topic a lot because I think many of us believe that breakthroughs and milestones and success comes from you have to have these massive wins to be able to feel okay, instead of small, consistent actions that we're going to call micro wins. And there's a couple great books that we'll recommend. Atomic Habits, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of great content in there. And also Darren Hardy's, that's James Clear, that book, Atomic Habits.
Right.
And Darren Hardy has a great book called The Compound Effect, which is the whole simple idea that if you just get, and actually I think we're going to talk about taking action and just moving when you start to feel overwhelmed and you can get paralyzed, how if you just take one small little step towards something, the momentum can start to shift. So let's talk about that today, right?
Yep.
So we define micro win as a small, meaningful accomplishment that just moves you one little tiny step closer to where you're wanting to go, as opposed to staying stagnant, right? So the reality and the science behind this is that we get that little dopamine hit, when anytime you do anything that moves you in a direction or can just really make you feel better instantly. When you accomplish something, even if it's small, the brain releases that dopamine, right? And then you can feel good, which gets you to, when you feel better. I was just talking to Matt about this because I'm battling a, bronchial thing, and it's like a struggle to feel better when you physically don't feel well. And,
Right.
Mentally I want to feel better and positive, but your body is like going, yeah, really? You really want to feel that? Like, well, don't you want to just lay down? And then sometimes you have to listen to that and lay down and rest, but I don't have that same level of energy.
Yeah.
However, I do realize that if I do get up and take one step towards what I need to work on, like, for example, do a video, then I do feel better, right? Yep. Or if I go up and take a walk, then I connect with nature, I do feel better. So
Right.
The opposite of, it's easy to fall into the trap of just not doing anything, right? And that's the domino effect. You get one little small thing, you get that kind of fix, that dopamine hit, that like, okay, I didn't get, all the way to the finish line, but I got like a quarter of the way. So I think there's a lot of things to that. So let's break it down to some examples for, like in real estate. I just gave you one example for what we do. Just getting one video up. That's it. One video up, which could then lead to somebody reaching out, which is what we're experiencing. As we post our consistent videos, people are reaching out again. If you make calls, following up and just maybe instead of making 20 calls today, you make 5 calls today. And that gets you going, and you consistently do that. And you don't have to do these massive tasks, right? It can feel overwhelming if you have a list of things that you have to do. And that's what I think sometimes happens to us. We have all these things on the list. So this is how I do it now. I have everything that needs to be done over on the mega list. And then I look at the day and I say, what are the things I'm going to take off the list that I know I can get accomplished? So because of that feeling of, I will do this task in this project, this task in this project, and then it's success. Because the alternative might be, I'll waste time trying to figure out what I want to go work on, and then before you know it, the day's over and I didn't do anything.
Right. Jan, goes right back to the short I did the other day. You know, when you're overthinking, you got to do the 3, 2, 1, go. Right. It's all about
3, 2, 1, go. That was such a good video.
It's all about taking action. So you just have to say to yourself, you know what? I've been mulling around in this for I don't know how long, trying to figure it all out and overthink it. I just got to do it. So just 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. 3, 2, 1, go. Stop overthinking it.
Right. And whatever your action ends up being, it's going to actually be that micro win that you need, and you just need to actually get out and do it.
So. I mean, it's really brilliant. So here's the key takeaway in what I just said. The key to success isn't finding the motivation first. Think about that. You don't have to get motivated first. You have to create momentum by taking some small action that leads to that feeling and that confidence, and then you get that momentum moving. And it's a great example when I watch sports. And it's a good one because I just happened to watch the Super Bowl as we record. This was yesterday. And it wasn't an exciting Super Bowl I just like to see a game that's interesting, and it was a blowout. A lot of them are. But what you can see is momentum shifts, and I see it all the time as an example in one small thing can happen in a football game, for example, a turnover. Yep. And then all of a sudden, a turnover can let the other team that gave up the ball can all of a sudden have the air is sucked out, and then the other team gets inspired by that and the momentum, and you see it all the time in sports. Then that one little thing, that one action can lead to all this other stuff, and all of a sudden the other team's ahead. That didn't happen in this game, but there was momentum finally at the end, but it was a little too late, you know. There was all of a sudden all this scoring happening because of some momentum that shifted their way. But it was also the other team was so far ahead. But anyway, you get the point. It really happens a lot. Momentum is huge in sports, and it can be in your business as well. You just have to have something happen, and everything can shift, because then the motivation's there, and then everybody's piling on, and off you go. So how do we build these in our business and life, these little micro wins? Try the 1% rule. How about this?
Love it.
Instead of trying to overhaul the entire system that you're working on or getting everything done all at once, just make small improvements, like 1% daily. And they really are great examples in both the compound effect and atomic habits of one small thing. For example, just deciding to drink water, eliminating other maybe beverages and just drinking water. How much? And if you did drinking like a couple liters of water every day, how much over time that could completely change your health? Just that one thing, drinking more water, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of little things like that. So realtors, instead of trying to overhaul your entire social media strategy and like, oh, I really have to get going on doing this. How about you just, leverage the power of AI? Honestly, we've talked about that to help you get organized. So we're really working on a lot of that to help you as we are moving forward with some new content for you. But what if you were just to do one post, one social media post, one video today? And here's the beautiful thing. I'm feeling more empowered by the way we're doing social videos for real estate and for WBNL because of having the list of things, right? Using AI. Matt and I have created a system, Cosmo and I have a system where we have it all written out, right? And we have a list of possible ideas is a better way to say it. Yep. So instead of being overwhelmed by it doesn't overwhelm me. What it makes me realize is there are all these topics. What do I want to go do? Just pick one. And then I work with the script, and then I go do it, and then it's really becomes easier. And in a process that was almost like, oh, there's all this stuff to do, I got to write a script. No, you just get your system, and you stick with it, and you get one video done. And before you know it, I mean, come on, Matt was doing this ahead of me, and all of a sudden, we're doing 2 videos a day, 2 to 3 videos a day if we use our podcast clips, and it's really starting to see, we're starting to see an uptick in people following us, right?
Absolutely. It's amazing. It's almost like, it almost makes you feel a little bit like a professional, that you're almost the talent when you have someone doing your scripts, right? So you can, obviously we just don't rely on AI and they just write the whole thing. We obviously put our input and put our mark on that whole thing. But it's just so interesting that when you have that part of it systematized, you can just go out and have fun doing the videos. It's really great.
And I was telling Matt that where that comes from, having that trusted system, is from this great book, Getting Things Done by James Allen, where you get everything out of your head, that is the structure, your system, what it is you're going to do. And then you just have to do this one thing in that project or that task or that lead gen that you're going to do today, for example. So a couple other examples in health and fitness might be, instead of, and this is a big one, instead of saying, I have to commit to a 60-minute workout every day, because that's, to me, and this is one for me, it's not really working out unless I spend 60 minutes in the gym or walking for 30 minutes. What if you just started with a 5-minute walk or a 10-minute walk or just 5 minutes of stretching and yoga?
That's key.
That moved your body today. Then you can build on that tomorrow. But maybe tomorrow that's all you want to do too. But it's better than doing nothing. This is the whole point that we're saying, because it's easy to sort of get into the, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, how about you just take a walk for 10 minutes? Get up and walk for 10 minutes. Or just do something. One small thing. This is what's so powerful about this. You'll really start to feel it if you consistently do these one small things, okay? So that, I think we're really just, you have to shift your mindset to saying, I took some action, it's not insignificant, because it builds. The alternative is, it's either 60 minutes of workout or nothing. Well, then there's a whole bunch of days and weeks that are nothing.
Absolutely.
Until you get your mindset around small things are going to compound over time. You just have to take the first step. You don't have to climb the mountain today to the top. Pardon me. So let's look at this 3-step framework. A couple other good ideas to help you with these micro wins. This is a great one. The first one is called the 5-minute rule. If a task feels overwhelming, just do it for 5 minutes. Work on something for 5 minutes. Often once you get started, it's like procrastination thing too. You're like, I don't have time to do this. But what if you just got in and did it and started the process? And even if you have to stop after 5 or 10 minutes, at least you made some progress on it, right? Mm-hmm. Again, it's that mindset that I have to complete the whole thing. So that's a good one. The 5-minute rule. Just get going with it and take it. It's interesting. Matt and I will talk about sometimes when we were doing content. Frankly, content is so much easier now with our trusted companions and extended versions of ourselves with our AI. Right. But when Matt and I would just work on content for the company, for WBNL, for a podcast, there might be days where you're like, I'm just not feeling it, right, Matt? You've had those days, right? But how do you feel now?
Oh my God, it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Because even if you just start a conversation in the AI, you get more feedback, and then all of a sudden you find yourself. Do you feel like I know you've had it. Do you find yourself being more inspired and energized over the whole, getting organized tasks? I mean, everything. Just
it's both those two things. It's inspiration and organization, but it's so weird how it has actually turned on this creativity button in my brain that has allowed me to actually think more outside of the box, come up with more creative ideas than I've had in the past, for a long time. It really has. It's been transformative. And I've used this word a lot because I've been talking about AI to a lot of people recently, and a lot of people are still very squeamish and, afraid of getting into it. But when you really kind of release and really get in and play, it's wild how it can open up the doors to things that you just, not that they weren't there, they're there. You just have to unlock it. So it's
almost like the AI helps you unlock it, especially the more you work with it. So if you're generic and you're not willing to sort of dive in and really go deeper, then you get a generic response. But
that's right.
When you really go dive deeper and start really, it's almost honestly an extension of a part of yourself that's been kind of hidden away.
It is.
So that's how we're seeing it anyway. So it's just really helping on so many levels. So that was the 5-minute, the 5-minute rule. And then the daily visibility check, I just sort of talked about this too, would be in your business, what's one small action that can keep you top of mind with your clients? So it could be a note. It could be a call, just a call or a text. It could be one direct message on social media or just recording a quick video. So that I like that daily visibility check. Did you do something that is going to keep you top of mind with who it is that you do business with? And then track and celebrate your wins is something we talk about all the time. You can keep a journal. I've been doing a lot better at journaling. It's so funny. I came across something over the weekend that I had started journaling in 2022. And it's so funny because I'm still working on some of the same things, but to go back and see, like, I was making a daily account of stuff that I was doing in 2022, and I did it for like a month. And I was like, wow, this was really good. It inspired me to do more Just a fast journal in the morning or at the end of the day too. This is what I did today, or here's what happened, because it's kind of neat to go back, because I don't always remember everything that happened in certain time frames, but to go back and read, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was doing at that time, was very intriguing. Oh, I'm still working on that one. Okay, good to know. So I'm making some progress. So a journal or a tracker of your small wins is powerful. And again, just a simple journal. I love it. It can build confidence over time. If you send one personal message per day to your database, then that means you've done 30 in a month.
Yeah, that's huge. It's huge.
So,
or what's the alternative?
As opposed to thinking about it and not doing it, and because you wanted to get 30 done in a day. You know what I mean? So one a day, or if you just went for a 10-minute walk every day, how much time have you walked? For that month. So it's just reframing the perspective a little bit. And it's a tendency in America, man, I think, that everything is about, you got to get up, you got to win, you got to be, get things and make a big paycheck, and it's materialistic. And it's like, we're really driven this way as a society in our country, more so than other ones. Okay. So let's kind of bring this to a close. Okay. So you don't need to wait for motivation. You just need to take one small action today. That's what we're trying to drive home. Success isn't about huge leaps. It's about stacking those small wins until it's like becomes the habit. That's really what Atomic Habits talks about, right? So what's one micro win you can create today? What is it if you're listening to this and you're still with us? Can you come up with one? And you don't need one in every category of your life. No. That's the whole point of today's talk, is our podcast. Micro wins can lead to these big habit changes for your life that are for the positive. So whether that's taking a 10-minute walk, whether that's starting your day with the daily 10 or 15 minutes for yourself before you dive into what you have to do today. Drinking more water. I'm really into that one. I think Matt will tell you his one habit has been his daily walks, right? Absolutely. He just said it in a video the other day.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I kick myself a little bit when I don't get that walk done, but at the same time, I will always do something that gets me out there for a little bit of time, even if it's not, a normal long walk. So it's all about
for me, it's got to be that one, to connect with nature, even if it's not a 30-minute walk, getting outside, getting some sunshine. Not even if I don't have clients today, it's not staying in my house all day. So that right there can get me enough of just getting that energy and being outside and seeing the sun and is enough for me. So again, we've got in the show notes, Atomic Habits is really all about how you can, small consistent actions lead to big results. And the same thing with the compound effect. I recommend both those books. I don't know the third book, Tiny Habits, which is interesting. BJ Fogg explores the science of small behavior changes that lead. So there's a lot of stuff out there to help you with the science behind all this, or examples if you need some more motivation. But just trust the process here. Don't have that mindset anymore. If you're finding yourself being overwhelmed and not moving forward, then the whole deal is to just do something to move you forward. Momentum is the big thing here, and it'll make all the difference in your life. So
it will make,
and your business.
Yeah, and your business.
Right.
You could, like Jan just said, you can get all those, all the information about the books, everything else we talked about today in the podcast over at the show notes at WBNLpodcast.com. This was episode 328. So join us next time in episode 329, where we're going to kind of take this outside, and we're going to talk about why wandering is the key to clarity and creativity. So join us at the next on our next podcast, 329. In the meantime, get out there, get up, get out. Get up, get out.
Take a small step.
Take a small step, right. You will continue to align, connect, and prosper. See you next time.